This is what Call of Duty 2024 Zombies needs to achieve in order for it to succeed, in my opinion. Rumoured to be called Black Ops Gulf War, the sequel to Black Ops Cold War set in the 90s/early 2000s. Now, I posted a massive thread last year in 2023 outlining all of my ideas for what I wanted to see within this game. Now, Kevin Drew actually responded saying that he did see this thread and that he is casually always reading and paying attention to what people are saying online. So Treyarch are listening and they have already taken this all in. However, I wanted to reshare all of my thoughts within this video so that you lot in the comment section can let me know if you agree or disagree with anything, and so that you can also share your thoughts in the comments down below, and you never know, some Treyarch devs may be browsing. Now, of course, we've had a really disappointing last two Zombies experiences with Vanguard and Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, and it's left me feeling very jaded about Zombies, and this comes mostly from corporate and higher up decisions impacting both of these modes, and I don't fault any of the developers themselves. Of course, they are all passionate people and want the best for Call of Duty Zombies, but there have been unfortunate outcomes that have impacted these modes. And I think it can be hard sometimes when developers are looking at feedback and seeing that people are visually very annoyed or angry about something and think that is directed towards them, and I can understand how that can be easily misconstrued, but most of the time when us fans are mad at things, it's mostly about higher up decisions sometimes, and a lot of people blame the developers themselves for these things, when often it is otherworldly powers above them controlling these things, and people's anger is misguided. But regardless, I want to go through my list, and personally, I don't think, despite the fact that Vanguard and Modern Warfare 3 Zombies has impacted the mode, it's really changed my thoughts on anything that I wanted from this list. And also, I designed this list to be a best case scenario, but a not too over the top scenario, because obviously, if I could say anything that I want this game to achieve, I could say, oh, I want a billion different round-based maps or something ridiculous like that. I want every single Zombies map remastered, and in a realistic standpoint, that's just never really likely to happen. So I'm trying to be somewhat grounded in my expectations. Now, yes, my expectations or my wants for this game are still pretty high, but I just don't think they're too over the top. I think this stuff is still reachable, especially with the fact that Treyarch have apparently had 4 full years of development to work on this game. Yes, they've still been working on Vanguard and Modern Warfare 3 Zombies and ranked play and other stuff like that. We don't know how much it's impacted this game though, but hopefully that extra time has given them enough time to finish everything they wanted for this game, regardless of them working on other projects too. Anyways, let's get through my list. So the first thing I want to see within this mode is I want to see a full cast of characters, as well as being able to play as operators. I think you should have the choice to play as either. This is a massive critique for a lot of people. Ever since the Ether story ended, and of course Chaos was discontinued, people were really missing a crew. People fell in love with Ultimus and Primus, and the operators just don't feel as engaging. And I think it would be great to have a set crew, but still have the operators, because at the end of the day, they make a ton of money from selling the bundles, and clearly it's in their best interest to have operators just for that reason. Also, I think it could be implemented in a different way, similar to how World War II Zombies did it, where of course you could unlock a bunch of bonus characters via different challenges, and maybe they could do something similar with COD 2024 Zombies. They could have a set cast, which for example could be the Requiem heads. They could escape from Black Site 13, and that could be the main cast, but then you could also unlock a bunch of other characters or buy them via bundles. The next thing that I think this game needs to achieve is I think we need at least 2 round-based maps on launch. Now, it seems like this is already confirmed, well, not confirmed because it's leaked, but it's rumored there's going to be 2 maps on launch, one being Terminus Island, which is going to apparently be where the Requiem heads have been apprehended on the strike team by Eddie Richtofen at the end of Cold War Zombies, and it's going to feature this prison/laboratory where they're being held and possibly experimented on as well. So that island map should be awesome. It's apparently where Dr. Peck is heading in that post-credit scene of The Forsaken in 1990, so I'm guessing that's how the map's going to start. He's going to be trying to break them out. Then apparently we're going to be getting another map according to leaks, which is going to be the town in West Virginia where Eddie Richtofen is having a massive wall built and tunnels and stuff like that, and it's possible this might be some sort of transit remake as well. A jet gun's been found in the files. I don't mean to talk about leaks too much, but I'm just saying this point is kind of already confirmed. However, when I initially listed this point, I said that I would be totally fine with one being one main map that's really in-depth, but one other smaller bonus map similar to what we had with the Giant, the Derby's remake in Black Ops 3, or Groston House in World War II Zombies. Some sort of small map like Nagdaruntowen, and I think that Black Ops Cold War Zombies should have done this as well. I definitely think it should have launched with Nagdaruntowen as a survival map too. Maybe if you complete the Easter egg for that map, again similar to Groston House. And it would just give you something extra to play. It's not any major piece of content by any means, and if we are going to be getting Terminus Island and this West Virginia town, down as the launch maps for COD 2024 Zombies, assuming one of these isn't ending up being DLC 1, I still think some smaller little survival maps like this are still beneficial, and I definitely think they need to have a handful of them too, and possibly one at launch. Now, the other thing I would want to see is the return of the crystal unlock system for perks, field upgrades, etc., but make it more in-depth. Now, some people are against this. They don't want to see out-of-game progression. They want it all to be in-game, but personally, I really like this system and would like to see it expanded upon and return. I believe it was actually Kevin Drew who designed this system, and I think he did a really good job. I think he was the systems designer in Cold War Zombies. I know he was promoted to a directorial position, although Corky, I believe, is the overall director, but there isn't really a face of Call of Duty Zombies anymore like there was in the past with Jason Blundell or Jimmy Zielinski, and I think that's a good thing for both the good and bad, because whenever people liked things about Call of Duty Zombies, they basically praised all of its success to that one person, and whenever they disliked things, they blamed it all on that one person, and both Jimmy Zielinski and Jason Blundell faced the brunt of both of the polar ends of that. Now, the next thing I want to see, and this has kind of had a spanner in the works with Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, is I do want to see Outbreak return. However, like I listed previously, I would want to see it played on the full Warzone map if it's played on that. Now, we've ended up seeing this with Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. However, I still want to see Outbreak back. I just don't want to see it like Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. Modern Warfare 3 Zombies is a DMZ/Outbreak hybrid. It's an extraction shooter on a 60-minute countdown. You can't play indefinitely. I want to see Outbreak back and have a lot of the similar systems that Modern Warfare 3 Zombies has, such as, you know, there's loads of zombies that spawn on the map, and I'm totally still down with them playing on the Warzone map. They tried to reskin Urzikstan to have a more zombies-esque atmosphere. I do think it is more zombies-esque. It's still lacking in atmosphere a lot, but as long as they still have round-based maps that have really cool atmospheres, I'm fine with an Outbreak experience as well. But I want to see a more traditional Outbreak experience that you can survive indefinitely, where you play on the full Warzone map, but you don't have to teleport from location to location to do each of the different objectives, and instead you have the full map you can explore and do different objectives, side objectives, Easter eggs around the map at your own discretion and your own will. And contrary to Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, you have an infinite amount of time to explore and play, and you are not stuck on that time limit, and you can really dive into that mode, and you can then choose to play at your own discretion which main objectives to do, side objectives, and whatever. I want the Outbreak world and environment to feel a lot more alive, dynamic, and interactive than before, with more things to do to keep you occupied. Now, Modern Warfare 3 tried to do some of this, but again, I don't think it achieved very well. I think having dynamic weather would be a cool idea. I guess technically the storm is kind of like that in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. Personally, I want COD 2024 Zombies to have Outbreak and round-based updated side by side, similar to Cold War Zombies, but I think we need a good amount of support for both. I think Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, unfortunately, just has one version of the mode, and it really limits the player base, so I would rather them try and cater to all types of fans, because they did say in Cold War Zombies that the player base was split 50-50 between round-based and Outbreak, so clearly there's a fan base that wants to enjoy both, and there's a big portion for both. Now, in terms of the round-based maps, I think that each map needs to have a good amount of side quests, some that are straightforward, some medium, and some that are quite challenging. For the challenging ones, they need to be realistically achievable, though. They may be hard to discover, but once discovered, should be able to be repeated. For example, there was one that was found when I posted this, that was found years later on Dead of the Night, and it was only found through data mines, I believe. There was no way it was ever going to be found organically, and it was such a tedious thing. I can't even remember exactly what it was like, but basically, it was next to impossible. I think all side quests in the game need to have worthwhile rewards. I really don't want to see any obscure quests that then make you feel like you never want to do it again by the end because the reward isn't worth it. A good solution for this could be permanent upgrades, so there aren't many things you can do in game to make you too overpowered. So for example, there might be a really tedious quest, but it might be worth it because you have a permanent reward for all future games. For example, unlocking a really cool looking skin or blueprint, which I don't think they're going to do because they obviously sell them, or reducing all fall damage in future games, increased box look in all future games, free jump pads in all future games, things like that. Just simple little bonuses that aren't too crazy overpowered, but are worth it to do because it's a one and done deal, and then you have that forever. I'd also like to see a difficulty tier system for the side quests, maybe even indicated on screen when you begin one. This isn't necessarily a must, and I guess it could technically give away whenever you're starting to work on a side quest. I'd also really love to see Onslaught back, especially Onslaught Containment, or some other similar modes on the multiplayer maps. Now, for some reason, we don't have Onslaught in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, despite many of the multiplayer maps having zombie reskins, and I hope that they are maybe saving these maps for Onslaught in COD 2024. Onslaught needs to be back bigger, better than ever than it was in Cold War. It was great in Cold War after all of the updates. It wasn't great on launch, but as it got better and better through updates, it was amazing. But of course, the multiplayer maps were quite generic and bland and didn't really have much atmosphere, so that if they are planning on reskinning, you know, a certain section of multiplayer maps for this Onslaught experience, that would be fantastic. And honestly, now that COD mods on a unified engine, they might just be reskinning these Modern Warfare 3 maps so that they're ready for Onslaught in COD 2024. And I think this is also a solution to the fact that there might not be any small little survival maps like Night Toronto and like Groston House in this game. It's an alternative to them, although I really think there should be both. Nevertheless, if the intel system returns, which I imagine it probably will, I'd like to see them given tiers in order of importance to the story. Cold War Zombies' intel felt way too overwhelming to consume for most players, and if it's possible for some intel to have animated cutscenes to go alongside them, that would be great. I definitely think some of the Cold War Zombies intel, especially the ones, for example, when Samantha was being interrogated by Richtofen, would have been so much better if it had a cutscene to go alongside it, but I understand budgetary concerns probably are limiting that a lot, especially when who knows how many people are actually going to unlock these intel, but I think people would be more inclined to try and hunt for them if they do have cutscenes. But yeah, I think that would be a good thing, but I'm not seeing that as being that realistic. I also think a good portion of the intel should just be unlocked just based on time played or hitting a certain round, etc. For the main quests, I'm fine with having the easier to access quests that we saw in Cold War Zombies, so that they open up the story and the mode to a lot wider audience, but I would also like to see quests that are more challenging. Now, Treyarch have said that they don't want the main story to be inaccessible for most players, so maybe a solution to this could be having complex side story quests that are related but separate to the main story. These quests don't give you many clues to the next steps. They may have story importance but not part of the overarching story, just providing some extra lore specific to the map you are playing. This is an idea I've had for quite some time because I really think they could do two main quests, you know, one that's actually the main overarching story, but then one is just a side story. For example, one of the side quests could be based around survivors trying to escape on the map, something very basic, obviously something a bit more complicated than that, and it might still be a really interesting story, but it's more unique to the map and you don't really need to understand it to understand the overarching story told within the DLC. For post-launch content, I would like to see Outbreak, if they decide to do a sequel to it that isn't like Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, a proper Outbreak sequel. I would like to see it a couple months after launch. Ideally, I would like it on launch, but it's probably best for a break, and it can then launch whenever the new Warzone map drops. Now, it is rumored that COD 2024 is going to be seeing Verdansk return in Warzone, so maybe we could see Outbreak on Verdansk. After all, it was overrun with zombies before, and especially because we've had an Outbreak-like mode with Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, I'm totally down if they just wait, if they are planning this, that is, for its release in like springtime, so you know we have a couple round-based maps to enjoy until then, and then it drops in a similar fashion to how it did within Cold War. The next thing is I want to have extra quests added to maps or Outbreak after the initial release. I think that would be awesome. Now, they did it with Outbreak the first time around. Of course, we had 2 main quests added after launch, but I don't see why they can't do this with round-based. You know, in between content droughts, between main map releases, they could have another quest. There's no reason they can't. D-Machine, for example, could have had another quest added to it. Even if it's something not story-related, for example, when Christmas swings around, they could have a Christmas-related quest that has nothing to do with the story. You might fight Santa as a boss at the end, and that's it. Just a fun little quest just for Christmas. We always talk about the fact that Outbreak is good because it can receive consistent updates and map changes, but there's no reason round-based can either with things like this. The next thing is that I think there should be 4 round-based maps within its DLC cycle. Now, I know maybe I'm asking for too much. This is what we used to get, and I'm only saying we might be asking for too much if there is going to be another open world zombies experience as well, because that'll be a lot of content if we have open world zombies and 4 DLC maps. Of course, with Cold War Zombies, we only saw 3 DLC maps in the post-launch with then Outbreak, and of course we had Onslaught updates, new perks, etc. as well, but they've had more time to develop this game. Now, at the time when I wrote this, I said within year 1, because at the time there was rumors that Modern Warfare 2 was going to get year 2, but that obviously turned into Modern Warfare 3, and COD 2024 doesn't seem like it's going to be getting a year 2 either. Instead, we're just going to be getting COD 2025, which is going to be another Black Ops game a year later, a sequel to Black Ops 2 apparently set in 2030 with round-based again, but I think that this point still stands. I want to see 4 round-based maps in its DLC, 2 on launch, which seems like what we're going to be getting, and then COD 2025 I want to see the same, 2 round-based maps on launch, 4 in its DLC, and then hopefully we also get some sort of open world experience too. I know many people are against open world zombies, but personally I liked the original Outbreak. I am not fond of Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, so I want to see a proper sequel to Outbreak where we can play indefinitely. I also think lots of fun party modes like Gun Game and Cranked should be added. We saw Cranked in Cold War Zombies and it wasn't well received, but that's only because it was like the first content update we had in Season 1, I believe, before we knew about Season 1 Reloaded, because I don't think Firebase was originally going to release then, and they never announced it when Season 1 was initially dropped, so that's why it received a lot of hate, because people thought that was the only content we were going to get in Season 1, but I would like to see many different party modes sprinkled out sporadically, but they need to have a proper plan set in motion so that there's no major droughts like this, and whenever content is coming on the horizon, they need to announce it ahead of time so we know what we're looking forward to. You know, if Firebase was announced when Season 1 was announced for Cold War, people wouldn't have been so hostile to, you know, the poor first update we had, and there was also Jingle Hells that wasn't well received. Now, the next point I mentioned is regarding year 2 content, seeing 4 additional maps, some remade maps, a Zombies Chronicles 2 equivalent, continued outbreak support, additional quests. But like I said, we're now seeing COD 2025 instead, which I guess we'll probably be seeing that inside of that game, not as a part of this game itself. Now, like we saw with Cold War Zombies, I want to see new perks, field upgrades, and more routinely added post-launch. And finally, and I think this is the most important thing, and I want the round-based maps to feel more alive and atmospheric and go to more exciting locations than Cold War Zombies. All of the Cold War Zombies map locations were, basic bases, and they just didn't have the same atmospheres as old. They got a bit better. I think Forsaken had a cool atmosphere, Mauer Totem as well, but they still weren't as good as, for example, what we were seeing within, Shadows of Evil, Origins, Revelations, or even the Chaos maps, Ancient Evil, 9, Dead of the Night. So I want to see more atmospheric Zombies maps, because I think with Cold War Zombies and moving forward, a big problem with them is that, of course, they've tried to rework a lot of the systems to cater to Warzone fans and multiplayer fans, and a lot of the systems are similar to those modes, but also the HUD is similar, and aesthetically, it's also similar as well. So I want the atmosphere to be a lot better, like we got in the past. Zetsubo Nishima was beautiful, for example, and in turn, with us having a better atmosphere like we used to get within past Zombies experiences, I think there should be the option to turn every feature off on the HUD. You should be able to turn off the minimap if you want to do so. You should be able to turn literally everything off to have no HUD at all. I don't see why Treyarch can't do this. It's probably a fairly simple thing to implement, and personally, I do think that the minimap and all of these features on the HUD that were added in Cold War Zombies are useful. However, there's no reason to not give the people the option to turn them off if they want to for atmospheric reasons, or even to give themselves more of a challenge. I personally would probably keep them on most of the time, but sometimes I would want to just be immersed in the map, and especially recording videos, it'll probably look better with no HUD. It would be great as well for YouTubers and content creators recording B-roll, because there's no longer a theater mode. People could just turn the HUD off to get B-roll instead. So yeah, I think Treyarch should give players the option. Of course, in Cold War, you could turn off some of the HUD features, such as the compass, but I don't see why you can't turn off literally everything. Even if they're useful features, why not give players the choice? Having more choice and freedom is always the better option. So that's everything I want to see in COD 2024 Zombies. Let me know in the comment section down below, do you agree with all of this? There's probably more things I can think of, but it's already quite long. The final thing is, regarding the story, is we've been getting very beautiful cutscenes in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, so I hope we get the same caliber of cutscenes in COD 2024 Zombies. I also hope that we have characters like Richtofen more front and center in the storyline, which I think we probably will be getting, considering he was revealed at the end of Cold War. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're ready for the latest and greatest Call of Duty news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.